Hey everybody, how we doing out there? Doc and Mav with you. Ready, Set Crypto. Today is Wednesday, the 8th of September. Welcome aboard, everybody. Let us know where you're coming in from today. We're going to be talking to you guys for about the next half hour or so, talking about what we see in the charts. Mav's got some interesting projects to talk about today. Love to know where you guys are coming in from. Help us beat the algorithm. Smash the thumbs up button. And let's get the party started. Let us know where you're coming in from, everybody.
Hello. How's everybody doing? Hope you're weathering the markets all right. Yeah, let us know where you're coming in from. And yeah, we'll get started here in a couple minutes.
We got to wait till everybody just sort of like, it's kind of like herding, you know, getting puppies in a box. So I guess you've been doing quite a bit of that lately, huh? A little bit of dog sitting. All right, we got Cape Town coming in. We got Santan Valley, Arizona. Outstanding. Where's everybody else coming in from today?
Makes sense that it's going to be kind of a slow day. It's been kind of, we saw some vitriol this week, and we'll get to that in the markets.
Ooh, vitriol.
Yeah, got to use the SAT words. But yeah, I think it's we'll get through this. October is generally a more positive month for crypto. September is generally a very flat and boring, if not downward facing market. So we got to get through it, but the light's at the end of the tunnel. So we'll get there together.
Yeah, it's interesting because in the financial markets, September and October are usually responsible for the most volatility of the entire year.
Yeah.
Not that we don't get volatility throughout the entire year, but usually September and October are notorious for things happening because everybody's trying to get themselves positioned for the end of the year.
Yeah. All right. Got some more people following in here.
We got Zurich, we got Philly, the city of brotherly love. We have St. Louis, Missouri. Temperature here is vitriolic. What is St. Louis known as? We have Philly as the city of brotherly love. St. Louis is what? What do you guys, give us a tagline for St. Louis. The gateway to the West, right? The gateway to the West.
Yeah.
Oh, Sam, the sunny, are you on the west coast of Scotland? I'm assuming you're not up at John O'Groats or something. Fort Hood, Texas says hello. Gateway, there we go, the gateway. Outstanding. St. Gallen, Switzerland, Antwerp, Belgium. Boy, you guys had some crappy weather for the spa race last week. Oh my God. Looked like you guys were getting winter coming in. I've never seen a Formula One race just completely rained out like that. Very north, very north. Okay. You're not talking about the Shetlands then, are you?
Ooh. Always want to visit there.
Yeah, I want to get the ferry that comes in from Aberdeen up to Shetland.
Sounds cool. Yeah, especially maybe this time of year. I don't know. But anything sounds approachable.
Yeah, any kind of travel right now. You can tell we're getting itchy. We're starting to like drool, like hearing about other places. So very, very good. Okay, outstanding. Well, guys, we'll be here, like I said, until probably about half past the hour or so. We tend to keep these short and sweet. We don't like to bloviate too much. So Mav will have a little bit of discussion about some projects that you may want to know. about. And after that, I'll switch over to the charts. If there's anything you guys would like me to look at whilst I bring up the charts, please let me know and give me the pair behind that you are interested in. And with that, we're going to get started here.
Alrighty. So today I want to talk to you about what I am seeing in terms of the markets. And of course, for those who haven't been around before, or maybe it's been a while, this is what we like to do every week or so. We took last week off. Sorry about that. But yeah, we're going to be talking about some projects and trends in the crypto industry to kind of help better inform you as to what's going on, what's the stuff you need to pay attention to. And in my opinion, what you need to be very much paying attention to right now. I think this is one of the hottest, most promising trends that we're going to be seeing through the rest of 2021. And that is NFTs. Yeah, I know. You can stop me and say, okay, I've heard that one before. But this is different. And okay, yeah, maybe you've heard that before too, but this is actually very exciting. And this is the natural sort of like culmination of, yeah, we went through the first hype cycle. Yeah, we went through the first sort of, I don't know, exposition of what NFTs are. And yeah, it bubble and burst. But now we're back. And I think there's some really interesting things to be paying attention to right now with NFTs, because frankly, it's doing a lot of stuff that I think is really, really cool. So anyways, let's talk first about how do you track these things? What is this NFT nonsense? And for those who maybe haven't been touching it at all, or if you're new to crypto or anything like that, this is not, unfortunately, the right guide. I'm going to skip over a little bit of the prior knowledge you'll need in terms of like, yeah, what a smart contract is, how Ethereum fits into things, stuff like that. But the general gist of things is that an NFT is a digital something that has scarcity and that you can own it. And we're pretty familiar with that in terms of that's kind of like the underlying fundamentals behind something like a Bitcoin. There's ever only going to be 21 million Bitcoins. It's impossible to create more except by the the code, the law that was put forth with the original Bitcoin Genesis. That's kind of similar to what NFTs represent, but at a much smaller scale. We're talking about the way it's been, this first iteration of NFTs. It's been around like art and culture and, oh, wow, these JPEGs that are selling for, astronomical amounts of money. That's kind of been people's impression of it thus far. And I'll say if you're passing that off or saying, I don't get this, this seems really nonsensical. This seems like, Beanie Babies and tulips, but worse, and you're a supporter of the crypto community, well, you've become the very thing that you hate. That's the same sort of attitude people have, attributed to crypto for years and years. The thing is that NFTs, yes, they're very naive. They're very nascent in terms of the industry, but they're growing up and they're doing so in a very fast way. It's very exciting to see just how far it's come just in the course of a year or so. And so when we look at the overall NFT markets, I use this website called nonfungible.com to kind of look at the different sort of projects that are in the NFT space and what they're doing. And right now, sort of the big hot trend in terms of at least NFT art is what are known as PFPs, or profile picture posts or whatever. It's around these like things like the like CryptoPunks that you might have seen Visa buying one of these for like $150,000, and that immediately skyrocketed the price of these. But we also have cool ones like one of my favorite ones right now is Bored Ape Yacht Club, which is very much a play off of the whole like aping into stuff. Unfortunately, to get one of these right now, I think the minimum buy-in is like 120,000 or something like that. But what this gets you, and where I'm kind of taking this, where I'm kind of trying to steer your direction, attention towards, is that NFTs are quickly becoming more than just these little silly pieces of art, these programmable little pictures. These, for example, in this case, the Bored Ape Yacht Club, owning just one of these gets you into this like private club online, of course, socially distanced and all that. No, it's like it gets you into like a special club, and gives you certain rights and privileges and stuff like that, where they're starting to become utility attached to these really silly sort of yeah. If you look at this and you say, how is that worth $1 million? Well, welcome to pricing and value and everything that is a market. You know, who are you to say what it is or is not? But somebody thinks that it's worth that, and so that's where it's currently worth, and it probably will go for that at some point. Maybe that's kind of the nature of these new markets, and it is a little bit. It feels like it's similar, but it also feels like it's so different for those who have been around the block with crypto. Know what it's been like since like 2017, for example. This feels kind of alien almost. It feels kind of as if like, yeah, I kind of get it, but they're kind of, I don't kind of get it. And so that's where the other sort of aspect of NFTs, I think, are really starting to come to light. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, back in July, in terms of, for example, gaming NFTs and having utility built out through the fact that it's what's starting to be called the play to earn economy. So, in an example, if we look at one of the most popular ones right now, Axie Infinity, it is skyrocketing in terms of its the revenue generated and the amount of volume that's going through it. And yeah, as you can see from this, it is second only to the Ethereum blockchain in terms of what's being generated on there, and it's really its own economy, which is really cool to see. And again, these little Axies, the little they're like almost like Pokemon. Yeah, you have some utility built into the game, and there's some they have this like breeding aspect to them, which is kind of weird. But you can see here like the actual marketplace USD being transacted and entered and out of the Axie Infinity economy far is overshadowed by the actual money that's being spent to breed or interact with these Axie Infinities. And I know if you're kind of lost, I don't feel bad for you. It is definitely a new sort of paradigm shift, if you will. But at the same time, it is so reminiscent of the tenets and the sort of fundamentals that we know and support in the crypto community. And I think that's kind of, we're getting to that inflection point where things are starting to become more serious, more legitimate. We're starting to see professionals in the space that weren't there before. So projects like Epic, projects like Art Wallet, which claims to be like the Spotify or iTunes of NFTs. One that we were talking about recently was Yield Guild Games, or YGG. This was one that I think is pretty cool because now that I've actually looked into it a little bit more, there's a reason why it went from $1 when we talked about it back in July to $10 a couple of weeks ago. It's down to about $6 today. What they're doing here is that they've identified that to play Axie Infinity, to get in there and earn money every day by playing that game, there's a pretty steep entry fee. You need 3 of these Axies to get in, and it can vary, but it's about like $1,500 to $2,000 to do that. And when we actually look at the player stats of who is actually playing this Axie Infinity game, who is actually taking the time to play this every day and get some income from breeding and playing the game or whatever, what we're finding is that like a vast majority of the players are in developing countries, in particular the Philippines. I think it's like 60% of the player base is based out of the Philippines. And what these players, these users in the Philippines have realized is that they can make a lot more money than their regular jobs by doing these sort of micro tasks in game and just doing this over and over again. But the problem is that initial entry fee, that $2,000 or whatever it is to start playing Axie Infinity, that's a bigger hurdle for someone in a developing country. That's going to be far above what maybe they're going to make in a month or whatever. So where projects like YGG come in is to be almost like an Uber meets Berkshire Hathaway in terms of they'll lend you what you need to get started to play these games, and start making, a daily income source from that, while also taking, a small chunk out of it. But at the same time, that gets you in, that gets you your income every day. You can start putting that, the crypto that you earn away, and living off of that. And for someone in a developing country, that means that they don't have to rely on their country's sovereign currency. They can kind of detach themselves from both that economy and become interconnected with the global economy in a way that they might not have originally done. Or maybe you've been through being like a like telemarketer or something like that. So this is just one facet, just the tip of the iceberg, as far as I see it, in terms of the opportunities present here, how this is going to reshape the way that really how crypto is going to evolve and come into contact with utility and adoption. We've been asking and hoping for years for crypto to really have that sort of like iPhone or Facebook moment where things really become a lot more usable and applicable to people's daily lives. And here is one great example of, we look back at 2020, for example, the amount of time people spent online and on computers doubled over the course of just 1 year. And that trend's not going away. People are going to become increasingly more digital, more, digitally focused, and, having this sort of digital gig economy, even if it's something as, sort of laughable as like, Bored Ape Yacht Club or Axie Infinity, all this stuff, even if it doesn't quite, fit right now, it's not, it doesn't feel like it's perfected or whatever. That's okay. That's the early adopter phase. That's, it needs to go through that sort of roughshod, refinement. And by the time that the early majority shows up, then, hopefully you'll have already been well attuned to what's going on and how things are developing. But this is the natural progression of innovation and adoption of, especially of new technologies, sort of the state of the art. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense at first. It doesn't, compute with our daily paradigms that, we've established to kind of make sense of all this chaos. It doesn't make sense. But at the same time, this is where we're seeing one of the best opportunities and developments in terms of, crypto getting out in the world and, becoming something new, something exciting. So anyways, that is kind of where I want to encourage you to be looking at right now, because I think that's going to be probably the most prominent trend within the crypto space for the rest of the year, in terms of, especially if we start to see Bitcoin heading up towards like 60K, for example. If we start to see, some resurgence of people coming into the space and some capital, especially the sort of retail traders and investors that kind of kicked off things at the beginning of the year in terms of, the excitement and the euphoria, if we start to get some of that again, these trends will definitely justify themselves. What we're seeing right now, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, because like a lot of the user base and, the people to get excited by it, they aren't here yet. But give it a couple months, give it some nice bull market action, and suddenly everybody's going to be talking about this again, just like they were at the beginning of the year. So if you wanted to look into this some more, what I would encourage is to first, just from an investor perspective, check out some of the projects that are in the space. We've talked about them pretty frequently on these streams, but what I would encourage you to do is go to CoinGecko and look at categories, and then go look at the NFT projects and see kind of what is trending and why is it trending. What is sort of driving price discovery from that perspective. Another thing I would do is kind of start looking around on these NFT marketplaces. OpenSea is definitely one of them that you're going to see a lot of this just strange stuff. A lot of this stuff does not sell. 99% of these will never be sold. However, just becoming familiar with this stuff and understanding how this is progressing, where this is taking things, I think is so important, because it doesn't take a whole lot to learn how to, for example, make one of these. It is not that expensive to get into this and start to see, maybe there is some legitimacy to this. Maybe it's not as scary or as weird or dumb as I once thought. And once you start to get that perspective, it's the same way that you probably got into the crypto space, is to say, hey, I don't understand this, but maybe I'll give it a shot. And suddenly you come across new and exciting ideas that you weren't exposed to before. And I think that's one of the best parts about this space. That's that sort of innovation ethos. And yeah, I would encourage you to continue to look into this. If you have some development skills, or even if you're new to, you've never really written code before, it's not that hard to build some of these and put it out there and see what happens. Be interface with crypto in a way that you probably have never done before. If you've never opened up MetaMask or like looked at Etherscan or something like that, this is a great way to learn how to do that in a way that is, it's not that bad. The safety barriers are definitely there. And so I would definitely encourage that. But anyways, guys, that's all the time I have to talk about NFTs for today. But we're going to transition into talking about the markets, because certainly these past couple of weeks have been kind of crazy. And Doc has some great perspective as to where he thinks things are going and what you should be paying attention to. So thanks for listening so far.
Okay, guys. And, I love listening to what Mav talks about, because it really puts context behind it. I'm a little bit more of an idiot savant. I just trade these things. I don't necessarily care about the religion behind any specific coin or tribalism or anything like that. I just look at what's happening with the price action and determine whether or not I want to buy or sell that asset. So let's take a look at some of these. I'm going to bounce over here to the charts. Obviously, Bitcoin has gone through a little bit of a tough distribution here, but if we throw the fib retracements on here, I think you can see that this is really holding support fairly well on the latest swing, 61.8% retracement. We're about to hit a golden cross, which I really don't care about, but I think it is interesting, the fact that we just had a death cross. Everybody was calling for the end of the world. And I see this so many times, the death cross followed up very shortly after that by a golden cross to the upside. If you don't know what a death cross is, it's when the 50-day crosses under the 200-day simple. That's a death cross. The golden cross is just the opposite of that. So Bitcoin's looking all right. I mean, it does need, as I've talked about, it does need a rest. And if we go out to the weekly chart, what it needs is, it needs a form of higher low so that it can therefore follow it up by a higher high. So right now we still have a downtrend in force followed up by a nice swing to the upside. So to turn this into a change in polarity, we need some form of higher low, and that may have happened this week. So that's all good. I did get a couple of requests for some coins. I'm not going to go through the whole top 20 here. So one of them was Rose. And Rose certainly looks, I'm just going to look at this on a price and volume perspective. This looks like we have seen so many of these lately, these rounded bases that come up to the neckline. And essentially what you get is the depth of this pattern forms the measured move to the upside. So if you count the distance between 0.06 up to 0.26, it's about a 0.2, right? That means that 0.46 is the upside measured move target for this one. So that one looks fairly good. What I'm particularly pleased by is the volume here. The volume always makes the biggest difference in these assets. If you have volume driving them, that means that the move has got something behind it. All right, some of the other ones, let's see, I think it was Slade was asking for these MXC. Wasn't that show that we used to watch?
Oh, get eliminated.
One of those Japanese shows that they overdubbed. That was hilarious. I don't see any pattern in this one. I don't know if this is the asset that you wanted me to look at. QNT was another one that you brought up. And this one does look pretty good. It's very new. It's very new. That's a weekly chart. Let's go over to here. This is really good price action that I'm seeing here, because range expansion goes to range contraction, expansion, contraction. And notice the biggest expansion here is followed by what? Volume. Volume is coming in, at least on Coinbase, right? So this is a big check. So I would expect to see Another consolidation here, followed by the next breakout. So this one has doubled in price in just a couple of days here. This is a mover. Okay, let's see. I don't see anything else in here, just some of the ones that obviously Solana is the biggest rock star out there because this is facilitating a lot of these NFTs and other assets which are similar to that. So we've talked about Axie Infinity at length lately. This one still isn't a good pattern. It's still very constructive, but it could use a little bit of time consolidating. This one has really gotten ahead of itself, and Hex has been unstoppable. This is just a crazy, crazy chart. So if you can get onto this one, I would look for a pullback, some type of a fib retracement pullback would be your entry to this one. Algorand is also super, super strong today. This one's also showing that rounded base with a neckline to it. So the upside measured move is really the depth of the target down here. And that's kind of it today. Another one that I did see moving was FTM. FTM has been on a tear for the last week or so here. And notice what's happening down here, the volume. Volume, volume, volume. If you have price, movement, and volume, you got everything that you need. All right. I think that's it. I think we're good. So let us know if there's anything else that you guys want to ask, or we're just about up at our time limit for today's session. Nice seeing you guys again.
Yeah, CryptoCube, you make a really good point, and I want to make sure I address it very quickly. I agree with you. I think NFTs are kind of like ICO 2.0. Yes, in a way. It doesn't make a lot of sense, and certainly for the prices to be where they are for some of these projects, or some of the collectibles, yeah, it's totally insane. But the nice part is, by extension, the more that NFTs sort of blow up and get attention, and that sort of market grows up, the more that it's going to filter into the overall crypto space and get people sort of excited. Is it a justified hype? Probably not. It still has a lot of growing to do. It is definitely not as developed as like a lot of the major smart contract platforms, or DeFi in its current state. But it's just another reason for people to be excited about the crypto space, and that's something we definitely want to see. So yeah, I very much agree with you. I think it needs a lot more growing up, but at the same time, it's moving in a direction that I think is opportune, and that's something we should be paying attention to. Otherwise, let's see, is there let's see, what else we want to talk about? Any other projects?
No, those are the ones that are moving right now. We're seeing rotation out of the standard assets like BTC and Ethereum into ones that are facilitating NFTs right now.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and yeah, hope you're doing well. Again, this is going to be it's that kind of month where things don't move as fast, but I think gearing up towards the end of the year, we have a very exciting time ahead of us. And yeah, I think this is one of the best spaces you could possibly be in right now. It's good to be informed and educated about it, and that's what we're all about. So if you haven't done so already, please come join our Discord, where we talk about crypto on a very frequent basis and go into lots of different other topics related to crypto, and just staying safe and secure in a digital age. So Slade, to your point about security, yeah, that's something we take very seriously. We were just talking about the Proton Mail sort of like IP, not leak, but they had to it definitely disappointed some people. Stuff like that is, I think, right at the heart of what we're all about. But beyond that, we also take trading education very seriously. Doc just put out a new class on ReadySet.trade, and that is his baby, all about teaching you how to trade more effectively, how to trade the equity markets, and do things like options. And I think it's one of the best things you could be doing right now. It's one of the best strategies you could be employing.
I've got a new strategy coming out, which is called the longbow. So think about the analogy of the longbow strategy. So it's going to be coming out on ReadySet.trade, and I'm going to also port that over to ReadySetCrypto fairly soon.
Awesome. Very cool. Yeah. So we're staying active. We want to help you be the best trader, investor, just most educated person possible in this space, because it is confusing, but that's what we're here to do, is help uncomplicate it. So as always, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Hope you're doing well. We'll see you in a week. But until then, take it easy. Take care out there, guys. Cheers.
All right. Everybody be good. See you guys.
See you guys. Cheers.